it was nice to see Joe Whiley's face. I used to listen to Joe Whiley. She did a kind of graveyard shift on Radio 1 in 1992, I think. She was on from midnight until 3 a.m. or something. And it was after that whole natural step thing had fallen apart. And I was living in my parents' house in Skillgate in Somerset. And just in a kind of funk, I couldn't get anything started, I couldn't do anything, I didn't have any structure. I still had my computer then, and I had a really early demon internet connection. So I had email, but in those days it was actually there were actually not that many people that you could email. And I used to listen to Joe Whiley and read books and think about stuff. I think then I was reading French Lieutenant's Woman again, and a couple of times I drove just for something to do. I drove to Lyme Regis, borrowed my dad's car and drove to Lyme Regis late in the evening. I knew someone else, Salima Hill, a poet. She lived there. I should look her up. We were friends at Schumacher College because we both smoked. So used to meet in the cigarette corner. She was fun. But I phoned Joe Whiley up because she ran like a competition to get people to phone in, I guess, or something. And it was a coded phrase. And she just read out the ciphertext. And the competition was the first person who could decode it. And so I did the thing on it, and I figured it was a substitution cipher, and I must have had software ready. I must have already had software on my computer that was software to do frequency analysis on strings and things, because it didn't take me very long to do a history. Oh, did I do it by hand? I can't remember. I think I probably did it. I don't know, did it on computer or by hand, and phoned her up. I think I was the first person to phone in. It was nice, and she sent me a photograph and a little Radio 1 Joe Whiley bug and a whole lot of other goodies, pens and things. You've got a lovely voice, Joe. And I'd been trying to, I had my regular expression pattern matching, and I was trying to think of stuff to do with it. And that was the first round of that time was the first time I had the idea of that was the first time I had the idea of starting computing from the top down, from formal syntactic definitions and down to the semantics. But I knew that there was a whole lot of work to do. I explained it. Nick, at some point that year, 1992, Nick Shaler came and visited me in that house, and we spent a few hours talking about stuff. But he was all into Java, and we messed around with Java a bit and didn't get anywhere. But I tried to explain my idea. I wanted to just use some kind of really simple Lisp-like syntax and define the whole world starting from nil or something like this. And but Nick was all taken away with Java, and he showed me Java, and I wrote a program and got it running on. He had the JD really early version of the Java development kit on his laptop, and I wrote some little program to draw tiles or something. And then Nick went off. I think it was after that he took himself to Florence and became the world's first blogger, I reckon. But yeah, it was very. If Nick hadn't been so into Java, we could have got something going. Because Nick and I had talked a lot when we worked at IBM. We worked at IBM together. We were both contractors, and we spent a long time. It was Nick Shaler that got me into tech and using tech long before I came across that kind of stuff in academia for doing mathematics and things. Because Nick had some interesting jobs. He'd worked for some people that did lots and lots of work with syntax and languages and stuff. I learned quite a lot from Nick from those conversations. So he would have been a good person to start that with because he had some background in it. There you go, some shiny new, there's a squirrel. Whoa. Some shiny new software thing comes out. There's also Nick that got me into Smalltalk. He was all into Smalltalk until Java came along. I reckon Java was a step down from Smalltalk. I learned Smalltalk too, enough to write a class method browser or something. There was some stuff that was missing from the system I had. Those were just fads, Nick. You should have We could have done it all. But you got seduced by Silicon Valley and Sun. And you nearly got me fired from my job on the first day at Cambridge, trying to get you a reference on Cambridge-headed notepaper to take to Sun. And none of this is Joe Whiley's fault. I'm sure that Lana Del Rey interview is an archive thing was set up for me to remember this, because he posted it as Radio 1 when it was Radio. She was at Radio 1 when I listened to her. She's on Radio 2 now, and that interview with Lana Del Rey was on Radio 2. Somebody knows something is going on. I mean, somebody other than me. The other thing I was thinking of today was my jacket, my leather. I bought a leather jacket in El Alto when I was in La Paz, just after I left. After I left Cochabamba, my jacket, that leather jacket, fell apart, and I bought a new one in La Paz, and I had that until I got to Turbo in Colombia. And when I was just the day I was leaving to go to Capurganá, I gave it to a girlfriend. She's a single mother. She's got a son, and she sells. She has she had a trolley. She used to sell stuff in Turbo in the streets to earn a living. I gave her the jacket and said maybe she could sell it somewhere. She's got my leather jacket. You have to hang on to it until I get famous, and then you can sell it for a decent amount of money and get yourself a house. Don't know what else I was going to say. Yeah, that regular expression code. That was kind of ready to go in there. But the thing I wasn't really looking forward to was battling with parsing. And it was after that I got a job with this, what did they call themselves? Advanced Systems or something in Dunkerton. Which I think is it in Bristol or Bath? And that work was just boring stuff. And eventually I sold that computer to a guy from Bath, and I had all the stuff on the hard disk. Used that money to go to South Africa because we were going to try and set up a eco-tourist business. I went to Zimbabwe and South Africa. The idea was to set it up with the Commercial Farmers Union in Zimbabwe had this idea to do farm stay holidays. But I don't know, that all kind of melted when I went and nothing happened. Everything kind of melts. This entrepreneurship thing is really hard. That's the end of that video. I'll go and look for Joe Whiley on BBC Two. See what she's doing now. See what kind of competitions she's running.